In Western Canada, there is a job within forestry, responsible for replanting of trees devastated by wildfires and timber harvested by logging companies. Students, travelers, veteran planters, people from all walks of life gather for a season that can last for up to 3.5 months to take on a challenge that is tree planting. My name is Carlo, and I'm a second-year planter with Folklore Contracting, which is based in Prince George, British Columbia. In the off-season, when I'm not putting trees in the ground, I dedicate most of my time towards traveling and volunteering all around the world.
Crazy times, can't you feel it? Is there a reason for it all? Maybe take a ride on this pipe train, hold it in, wait for it, here come the fall. Oh, your mind's been spun into a web, is the spider gonna catch 'em all?
Alright, so what exactly does a tree planter do? A tree planter is a crucial part of the reforestation industry, also known as silviculture in forestry. Once a logging company cuts down a forest, in Canada, it is required by law for logging companies to replant the trees they've cut down. And this is where they hire tree planting companies to do the job for them. Tree planting is more than just planting thousands and thousands of seedlings. It's about the connections, experiences, and memories that make the job unique. So what exactly makes it unique? The pros. An amazing social life, better wages than you'd find in the city, working hard physically, facing challenges, experiencing both failure and success, eating well, being in nature, the low-hanging fruits to happiness. Most camps are pet-friendly, so if you want to make shmoney with your animal companion, this is the job for you. The cons. The trade-off is that it's really hard. Grueling, back-breaking, soul-snatching. Ouch! But for some people, that's a good thing. Do it. It will change your life in a way so profound that it will own a piece of your soul for the rest of your days. So, if you're considering being a tree planter, ask yourself honestly, are you a hard worker? Can you handle suffering, both mental and physical? Can you endure being too hot, too cold, or even being lonely?
Fuck.
If your answer is yes to all of my questions, then do it. Alright, so how do you get started? Here is a list of some companies in BC. There is a Facebook page called King Kong Reforestation, which provides job postings and information about tree planting and other types of forestry jobs. What essential tools are needed for the job? You're going to need a shovel to dig a hole for your trees, a planting bag to carry your seedlings, gloves to protect your hands, and a good pair of boots. Go check out Surplus Herbies. They'll have all of your planting needs covered. It varies from company to company. Some provide lodging, but most don't. This means you'll be camping out in the bush. You're going to need a tent, a sleeping bag, and I highly recommend getting a cot for more comfortable sleep. One of the advantages of planting camps is they have cooks. But you'll need something to eat out of. You'll need a kitchen set. I also highly recommend getting a water cell. These things are bush durable and can hold up a good amount of water. As the season progresses and the harder you pound, the more you sweat. Gotta stay hydrated. If you're on a budget, Walmart has very affordable prices for tents and other camping needs. However, if you're really concerned about quality and have some extra money to spend, Atmosphere has a great selection as well. For clothing, the bush is going to end up destroying your jackets, shirts, pants, no matter how good the quality is. I suggest not bringing too many clothing and go thrifting instead. Value Village is a planter's best friend, and most towns usually have a thrift store. Also, one last piece of advice before the season begins is to do some pre-season training. So let's say you did get hired. Well, first of all, congratulations. Woohoo! And welcome to a world of pain and suffering. And to you, I present what a day in a planter's life looks like. Alright, and just like that, your day begins. It could either look like this, or like this. Hooray for the trees that I plant today, you tell yourself. And off you go on a mission to plant those trees. This is a cut block. A cut block is a section of land that a company has logged and which needs to be reforested. It could be raw, prep, or overgrown. You may have a mix in your piece depending on the contract and the layout of the land you are working. You get paid by piece rate, and that all depends on the contracts and difficulty of the land. Using my previous season as an example, one of my best days I planted about 3,700-ish on a 16-cent land, and this is what it came up to.
Every crew is led by a foreman, a fearless leader who runs you trees and tells you where to plant and where not to plant.
So don't plant across the road.
Mm-hmm.
The foreman oversees a small group of planters, typically ranging from 5 to 15 employees. In the past, larger crews were more common, but nowadays it's rare to see large crews because planters aren't properly taken care of. The foreman is responsible for hiring the planters, directly supervising them in the field, assigning land, delivering trees, checking quality, submitting payroll information, and managing other related duties. A piece can be worked on by a group, a pair, or a single person. This is where you'll be spending a significant amount of your time during the season. A cache is where tree seedlings are stored on blocks. Planters also store their day sack, lunch, and water in the cache. It is where you'll be bagging up your seedlings, which means filling your empty planting bags with seedlings in preparation for going out on a run to plant them. The process of planting out these trees is sometimes also referred to as a bag up or a bag out. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a time where you're either bagging up your trees, having a smoke, eating your lunch, taking a nap, or slacking off. There are several ways you can work and manage your piece, but I'll show you the simplest way to do it. So let's say your piece looks like this. Start by setting your inline from your cache, then followed up by your backline, and finally a sideline planting back to your cache. Ideally, you want to start filling in the back first and work it towards the cache. Tree planting isn't just about planting trees as fast as you can. You have to make sure you plant it in a way the seedling can thrive, and that all begins with a good microsite. Important considerations when evaluating different microsites for a seedling include moisture content, soil type, shade, and elevation. Even a few inches can make a big difference in temperature. Higher microsites offer surprisingly longer growing seasons, thawing faster and freezing later. Planters are encouraged to plant next or close to tree stumps. A good skill to learn is obstacle planting, where you plant the tree directly beside the stump of a previously cut tree. There is often better soil there, and you will tend to hit the right density if you plant this way. And if a contract permits you, in some cases, in red rot. Problems that might lead a tree to be considered as being faulted include being too deep, too shallow, a tree that you can easily pull out, bent roots which are known as J-roots, and a planting classic, leaners. Failing to meet contract specs can lead to a replant. When a tree is planted, some contracts require a screef, which means that the area around the seedling to be planted needs to be cleared down to the FH layer or down to the mineral soil. Once the screef has been cleared down to the necessary depth, the tree is planted in the middle. You can either use your hand, or the front or the heel of your footwear to get rid of the schnarb covering that mineral soil. When planting an area, the density and spacing of the trees are crucial. Planting trees too close together or missing an area can be a mistake. These distances can change constantly, such as planting 2 meters apart one day and 5 meters the next. This can be especially challenging because the seedlings are small and easily missed, particularly in greener areas. Many planters use flags to mark their trees for easier identification of where they've planted and how far apart they are. While not mandatory, it's a useful skill to learn. It's a good idea to practice using flags when you first start, as it's easier to incorporate new techniques early on. Also, you don't have to cut the flag as long as mine.
No.
The way I cut it is very excessive.
Whoops.
Once you open up a hole, put your tree in. There are several ways you can close it, but we'll go with the most common ones, which are hand closing and kick closing. You can use your hands by punching the soil or twisting your hands to close the hole. This type of closing is usually what's taught to most rookies. This one is pretty self-explanatory. A kick close is done by kicking the soil to close the hole. It's what I usually use myself. It's not always going to be a good land. Some contracts you're constantly smashing through rocks and your shovel hand can only take so much. Investing on learning how to plant ambi will benefit you in the long term. Overuse injuries are so common. It's good to be able to switch it up once in a while. This is a plot cord. It is used to measure density. The quality check is performed by creating a plot and randomly placing a shovel into the ground. The optimal number of trees and their spacing is determined by the terms of the contract and the specific conditions. If you're seriously considering pursuing a career in tree planting, it's crucial to prioritize rest and proper nutrition. Tree planters handle thousands of trees in a season and carry heavy loads across various terrains, leading to a significant caloric deficit. Regardless of how much you eat, the physical demands of the job will deplete your body's resources. Tree planters are typically very lean and consume a substantial amount of food. Tree planting is a sport, bro, as it demands endurance, strength, and flexibility to navigate different types of land. Furthermore, it's important not to undervalue the importance of sleep. While night-off parties and activities can be very enjoyable, if you're committed to this career in the long term, you'll need to be selective about how you spend your time wisely. It's healthy to unwind occasionally, but excessive indulgence in substances and constant partying is not advisable. Take care of yourself. Days 1 and 2 of the week tend to be quieter, and then day 3 comes, which is when the fun begins. Besides the money, one of the biggest reasons people come back for another season is the amazing social life, which makes the job feel like a summer camp. And just like that, your season is over. Take a huge sigh of relief and be proud of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your summer. After going through hell and back, you're going to be so happy that the season is over. But give it a couple of months and you'll be longing for another season. Next thing you know, you're back doing the same shit. Only difference is, will be you. And say hello to the new and improved beast that you will be. Ciao for now.